Welcome to Old Dog, Young Bull. Old school meets new wave as Joe Old Dog Mays and Charlie Young Bull Forrester deliver a multimedia discussion of all things sports. Now settle in as Joe and Charlie come strong here on Old Dog, Young Bull. Welcome to Old Dog, Young Bull. I am the veritable Old Dog, Smokey Joe Mays.
What's happening, Old Dog? I'm the Young Bull, Charlie Forster.
Where the horns are at, man.
Yeah.
Bring them.
Had to leave them in the good old package there because this past week has made the horns go away.
It's a little bit bleak. It was not our best week, but we continue to grind on. We're both sitting right around 600 for the season with a target of 650. I think we're at least moving in the right direction. So,
where were you last week? You were like 10-5, right?
10-5, yeah. The last two, I was sitting at 10-3 before the Monday night debacles. Lost both of those, so it did not bode well for me. But yeah, what are you gonna do?
Any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday, as in the immortal words of Al Pacino. Okay, it is. Let's ready to roll into the episode. We've got our picks for the week. We've got some news, of course. The big news for us is that UNT lost its first game of the year. They ran into a fireball USF team that put UNT down for the year. So much for the best start since 1959. Way too many mistakes in that game. Still, it was a lot of fun to see UNT getting a little bit of recognition.
Yeah, that's not really surprising. This is a USF team that beat Florida. You know, they've been on a great start to the year and only losing one game, and yeah, they were ranked. UNT was not, and that's definitely apparent. No defense. Yeah, it was a offensive game, but whenever you give up, what was it, dang near 60 points?
63-36, I think was the final.
Yeah, you're not going to win many games like that. So
yeah, not in conference. And USF, of course, they had the big win. Their big win of the year was taking out Florida to start the year. So UNT was playing a big team. It was nice to see him. Nice to see him play. Nice to see him get a little bit of recognition.
Yeah, and first sellout UNT's had. So yeah, the days are bright ahead for the UNT Mean Green. So.
Absolutely. All right. NFL news from the week. I think the big news, which was probably the least surprising news of the week, Brian Callahan fired out of Tennessee. Kind of as I think I asked you at the time when you mentioned it, how much does Amy Adams-Strunk miss Mike Vrabel now?
Golly. Yeah, it's bad in Tennessee, and just the way they've looked offensively throughout the first 6 weeks, it's very, very shocking, especially whenever you get number one overall pick. You hope to see that leap kind of early on, but unfortunately, Tennessee just had so much bad coaching on their staff that after 6 weeks it was time to turn the page.
Yeah, and when you have one mandate, as Brian Callahan had, and that was just simply to get better, and they didn't, that was not going to go well. Sorry, I'm playing with the lighting here. Bear with me a little bit. It was just not going to go well if they didn't get better, and frankly they didn't. So.
Right.
That was sort of bound to happen. We'll say this is, you have to ask how much of it was on Callahan, and I think there was plenty. His just horrific game management.
And Jeffrey Simmons after the game basically came out and said it was one of the worst weeks of practice, and they were just not prepared. And whenever your top players on your team are basically being vocal about how they're being prepared and ready for a game, you could tell he's lost the locker room. And of course, they were a luck away from being 0-6 to start the year if they didn't sneak that victory out against the Arizona Cardinals.
Right.
One DeMarcado fumble away from essentially sitting there at 0-6. The I will say one of the most awkward positions a person can be in is arguably Bill Callahan, who's the offensive line coach there. Having to continue to coach a team that his son just got fired on, that's one of the most awkward positions a person could be in the NFL throughout the first 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's going to make Thanksgiving dinner a little bit awkward.
Just a tad bit.
That's four head coaches and GMs that Adam Strunk has fired since the beginning of since 2022, December 2022, so a little over 2 years. Callahan and Mike Vrabel, of course, and two general managers, John Robinson and Rand Carthon, both. So all four are fired. I think that next up on the hit list has got to be Chad Brinker and the president and CEO Burke Nihil. They've got to be sitting because don't know how much more Amy Adams Strunk is going to be able to tolerate, especially with Vrabel when they're going up against Patriots.
I was about to say, with them being 4-2, and Mike Vrabel kind of has steered that ship in the right direction, and now you're going up against that team this week. Yeah. Well, and of course we'll get to it whenever we get to that game, but yeah, bad days have occurred for Tennessee, and it's unsurprising that they're making this move right now, sitting at 1-5.
Yeah, I think the race was between Callahan and McDonald to see who was going to be first out the door, and now we know the answer to that question.
Yeah, or McDaniel.
Or McDaniel, sorry.
Yeah, Miami. McDonald.
McDaniel, sorry.
Yeah.
Cowboys this week, so a little bit of good news. CeeDee Lamb, Kevontae Turpin, and Tyler Booker all were back at practice, at least in some limited capacity this week. That is a good sign.
Do either of those three play defense?
No, unfortunately.
Okay.
I don't think you're going to help, although you could probably turn Turpin into a cornerback and get some better
production than what we've been getting.
Hell, make him a linebacker.
Yeah, I don't know how much of good news it is. Offense, you get a little bit better. But shoot, you're going to have to score 60 points if you're wanting to win a game.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the way it's looking. Did not go well for the Cowboys this past weekend.
If you want to turn a quarterback into a Hall of Fame quarterback, just have him go against that Dallas defense. Yeah, I mean, shoot, you got the backup in New York looking like a Pro Bowl player, and the very next week gets benched in Russell Wilson.
Right.
You got Bryce Young, who looks like, is he really an NFL starting quarterback? Come in and essentially ice the game with 6 minutes left, never get the ball back. This defense is terrible, and don't ask Jerry Jones, what he thinks about the defense, because he'll tell you it's great pass rush, and he believes in Eberflus, and that they got all the pieces in the world to be able to win games, and the product that comes out on Sunday doesn't look it.
Yeah, it does not look that way on the field, Jerry. Hate to be the one to tell you that.
Yep.
Also, this week, the other big news for an old guy like myself, like the old dog, we have 80 years of, headset, all these headsets, 81 years of NFL experience coming onto the field when the Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals meet. 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers, 40-year-old Joe Flacco. There's going to have walkers out there. They'll probably have cardiac next to the ambulance and the blue tent. They'll have a cardiac ward, I think, for these guys.
And on a short week.
Yeah.
God, their bodies are hurting.
You know it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but at least Pittsburgh got an early bye week. But Joe Flacco, you're banking on old man against one of the worst offensive lines in the game. That's not really going to bode well, especially whenever you got to face a T.J. Watt and a Pittsburgh pass rush, which is pretty stout. So
one thing Tomlin has a tendency to do is to put some nasty defenses out there. So, yeah, it could be a long day for Flacco, and like you said, we'll dive into it as we get into the picks for the week.
Yeah. Yeah, but one we didn't touch on. What about those Jets, Jets?
They remain undefeated at
Golly.
0-6. My goodness, this is we have a little bit of. I think I've hinted at this before. Author, sports writer, and author Jeff Pearlman is going to be joining us sometime over the next couple of weeks. He's got a new book coming out on the 21st of October. This podcast will go live on the 16th. Jeff's new book, Only God Can Judge Me, his book on Tupac Shakur, is coming out next Tuesday. Great book. I cannot wait to see it. Wait till it drops. Even here in a bookstore, I've got to wait for mine to come out. I didn't get a pre-copy, although I did get some swag to go along with it. Anyway, I bring that up because I don't have the dates yet on when Jeff's going to join us. But poor Jeff, he is a diehard Jets fan. He is really struggling. He's thinking this could be the worst Jets team ever, and that encompasses a lot of ground. So, little shout out for Jeff. Little prayer going up. Hope that the Jets give you a little bit of reprieve coming up here soon, Jeff.
Well, the march to that number 1 overall pick, the Jets have a good shot at it, and depends on who is going to be the best player coming out. But they have invested a good amount of resources to get Justin Fields this past offseason. So, it's bleak.
Yeah, and
in New York.
I've got to tell you, as a Raiders fan. I just hope we're not sitting right next to the Jets in Pittsburgh in the spring, in April when the draft kicks off.
Yeah, and I know he became the head coach this past offseason, but is the seat hot for Aaron Glenn?
Yeah.
How long does he have in New York? Is it a quick turnaround there? Because there's not many other people to blame. And that organization, because they've already gotten rid of their general manager. They turned the page, of course, on some previous head coaches, Robert Saleh, and of course, what's his name? Aaron Rodgers is Nathaniel Hackett.
Nathaniel Hackett, yeah.
It's just not looking great, but. Yeah.
Yeah, and they just the last couple of years, it's like, oh, they're close, their defense is there, and they're just not. I think, and all indications are that Justin Fields is a great guy. People love him. Of course, Garrett Wilson out this past week with an injury. They're not, the Jets are not ruling him out completely for this week, but I don't even think that is going to rescue him. I just don't think that Justin Fields is going to be an effective NFL quarterback unless he's on a really stacked team. So
right,
I think the Jets are going to be struggling for a bit.
And you don't get many opportunities to turn the page and get a number 1 overall pick. And if that ends up being a quarterback, it's going to be hard to not pick that, even with Justin Fields on roster.
Yeah, and Justin Fields is his third team in the past 4 years, a year in Pittsburgh. His tenure now with the Jets, and of course started off with the Bears. Just you got to wonder how much longer he's going to be. They're going to keep teams are going to be giving him the keys of the car rather than put him on the sideline to hold the clipboard. So I think he's got an opportunity, kind of like Spencer Rattler. I think he's going to be the type that'll be around. He knows the game. He just isn't there to be able to carry a team. So
yeah, 100%.
At the opposite end of the spectrum, we'll run down the standings currently in the AFC East. The Bills lost 2 in a row. They are now tied with the Patriots at 4-2 atop the AFC East. The only AFC North team still over 500 is still the Steelers. They are leading the AFC North at 4-1.
Shocking division.
Yeah, did not see the fall off the cliff that the Ravens, again, looking back, it's always hindsight's 2020. You can say, okay, well, yeah, starting to see where some of the toll to be taken, the load that Derrick Henry carried last year at his age, seeing that drop off, seeing a little bit of a drop off with Saquon, again, some of these older, more seasoned running backs take when they have a lot of touches, they're going to feel it a lot more than the younger guys. So
Yeah, and whenever you don't have Action Jackson out there, that Ravens offense looks bleak, and that defense, it doesn't look like
it's not
the old Ravens defense, and they really haven't spent too much time rebooting it. So now it might be the year that they tear it down and at least retool it, have a soft rebuild.
Yeah, and when you've got somebody, Lamar Jackson covers up a lot of weaknesses elsewhere on the team.
Definitely.
So when he's not out there, you're not going to those weaknesses are going to be exposed far more glaringly than when he's there. So they've still got time. He's still young enough for them to be able to rebuild around him.
Yeah, and they just don't draft particularly well. It used to be you would bank on Baltimore having one of the best drafts, and just over the past few years, their draft picks aren't hitting like they used to, and especially on that offensive line, they're not dominating the interior of both lines. And for the longest time, that was Baltimore's calling card. And whenever you don't win the inside game, whatever happens on the outside dramatically decreases. So,
and I think that this really, to your point about the Ravens draft, I think it really re-emphasizes just how good Ozzie Newsome was.
Oh, easily.
Eric DaCosta hasn't been nearly as effective as Ozzie was.
Yep.
Ozzie, as great as he was as a player, was, I think, probably even better as a general manager in Baltimore. So
yeah, absolutely agree.
Yeah, so that division, like you said, that's a hot soup sandwich.
Yep.
AFC South. Cannot believe I'm saying this out loud. You're going to have to say this, Charlie. I can't even say it.
Yeah, Colts sitting at 5-1, Jags sitting at 4-2.
To flip this division upside down.
Yeah, way more competitive than thought it was going to be. Of course, Indianapolis undefeated at home, Jacksonville 3-1 at home. Yeah, it's good football that the Colts and Jags are putting up for the first few weeks.
Could see two teams out of this division in the playoffs. Of course, we got a long way to go. We're only 6 games in, but we could see two teams. The Colts seem to be holding fast. Well, they've got a stretch next 4 or 5 games. I think they're going to be tested a little more stringently. But
specifically starting this week. Yeah,
but they're play who's in front of you, and they're playing them and they're winning. So and then finally out
the
west,
most competitive division is this one.
Yes, it is. And I don't think we've heard the last of the Texans. I think we're going to still see if they can get the basketball away from.
I might have jumped the gun. Might have jumped the gun there, because I was saying most competitive was going to be the AFC West.
Oh, AFC West, gotcha.
Yeah. I jumped the gun on that. No, that's my apology. Yeah, AFC West is the most competitive division, and at least the AFC, maybe in the entire league. But of course, you got Chargers sitting at the top of that division.
Chargers and Broncos tied at 4-2.
Yeah, Broncos defense is slowly but surely coming around. Of course, in the top 5, there's a lot of shakeups. So that'll be coming right after we get done with the division standings. But then you got
lurking in the background, starting to climb the ladder.
Good old Patty Mahomes and Andy Reid and bunch. And they're getting reinforcements coming after this week. And
I tell you, with Xavier Worthy on the field, not even counting Rasheed Rice, with Xavier Worthy on the field, Travis Kelce looks much more like the Travis Kelce of past years. When he's the only weapon, it's easy to shut down that Chiefs offense.
And once you plug in Rice, then all of a sudden, Travis Kelce is going to get a lot of one-on-ones. And if you double Kelce, then all of a sudden you got Worthy on one-on-ones, Rice on one-on-ones.
But again, just with Worthy back, it's made a huge difference in Kelce's effectiveness.
Agreed.
For the Chiefs. So when they get both of them back, Katie bar the door. That offense could explode.
And of course, we got NFL trade deadline coming November 4th, and I think this is one of the teams that's going to be sniffing around for a running back. And if they can plug in a running back, goodness gracious, that offense is going to kick off, because they have still a quality offensive line. Defense isn't nothing to write home about, but of course, whenever you got 15 on your team, you never can count out that team. So
Yeah, I think Isaiah Pacheco's a good change of pace back. I think Kareem Hunt is just starting to see the tread on the tires.
yeah, and injuries, man.
Yeah.
Especially with a player like Pacheco, who never was particularly fast. Now with dealing with leg injuries, that speed is diminished. Still really physical, much like Kareem Hunt, but there's just not much explosiveness coming out of that backfield. But if they find a quick running back, that offense turns into one of the best in the league, and that could be potentially scary.
Yeah, and that's the thing we've seen out of the Chiefs in past couple of years, is they sort of lurk. They start out, come out of the gate slow, get banged up a little bit, but they lurk, and they're lurking, and they're still just sitting the game behind the Chargers and the Broncos,
Yep.
both of whom are young.
Yep.
And if you start putting the kind of pressure on them that the Chiefs can put on them as an experienced team, they were in the Super Bowl heck last year.
Yep.
Won the 2 years prior to that. So they've got seasoned veterans on that team that still have some game in them, and you start
100%.
Start putting that pressure on the Chargers and Broncos. This could flip very quickly for Kansas City's favor.
Yeah, and one benefit for the Chargers is they're sitting with 3-0 in the division. So early on, not losing a divisional game bodes well for that team. But definitely just how they've looked the past few weeks, the Chiefs and Broncos are rounding into shape, and that's scary for that division.
Yeah, that, like you said, we kind of expected that would be a fun division,
Yep.
possibly very competitive.
Yep.
At one point, there was even discussion that all four teams would be competitive, but we've disavowed ourselves of that notion.
I'm looking at you, Chip.
At this point, yeah, Chip, boy, oi.
Yeah.
So
stay in college, Chip.
yeah, there's some work to be done in Las Vegas.
Yep.
But your mom and I are going to go to the Cowboys-Raiders game in Las Vegas here in a couple of weeks, or a month or so. So we're excited about that.
Well, you got to go see, the Raiders offense versus the Cowboy defense, right?
Yeah, you've got the Raiders defense that has played far better than they did last year, and I think, frankly, better than I expected them to. What's the linebacker? Devin used to play for Tampa Bay.
Oh, Devin White.
Yeah, Devin White.
Oh, yeah.
Playing out of his mind,
Oh, yeah.
leading that team. The Raiders defense is looking solid.
Yeah, Raiders defense is definitely not the problem there.
And the Cowboys offense, I think, is borderline elite when you add CD back into that mix with George Pickens. You've got Javonte Williams in the backfield, Ferguson at tight end, Dak playing out of his mind.
Yeah, until the game's on the line, then all of a sudden it's dink it off to the running back and have no yard gains, and then all of a sudden you're sitting with a 3rd and 10. And
remember the good old days when we were comparing whether we like Dak Prescott to lead a franchise more, or Derek Carr?
Yeah.
Back when the Raiders had a quarterback that we could at least rely on.
Yeah, and I know this might be a controversial stance, but I think both of those quarterbacks don't get you any closer to a Super Bowl. I think they definitely make it to where you're further away from a rebuild. But
to keep you in too many games and
right.
land in the middle of the pile.
Yeah, but I mean, definitely throughout the first 6 weeks of this game or of this season, Dak has definitely looked the part. He's definitely not been the problem, but there's so many holes on both teams to where,
could be interesting. Just when the Raiders have the ball and Cowboys are on defense, just we have no idea what the hell to expect.
Who's going to mismanage it more,
Boy,
Chip or Matt Eberflus?
There you go. All right, moving over. Speaking of the NFC East, the Eagles took their second loss of the season. They are now sitting at 4-2. Still a game up on Washington, although Washington is starting to look a little bit better. We've got Jaden Daniels back. Don't know that they have the big dogs.
It feels like every team in the NFC East is declining, besides the one that's sitting at the very bottom. And I feel like it's unfortunate, but the Giants are on the up and up. And the Eagles and Commanders and Cowboys are all sliding down.
Yeah.
Of course, like we talked about last week, the Eagles, there's trouble at bay, specifically with that offense. There's a lot of
Hollywood's a little sad.
yeah, there's a lot of personalities on that offense, and when things are going good, it's really good, and when things are going bad, ooh, there could be some locker room issues there, and I think we're starting to see it.
And I hate to say this because I like him a lot as a person, but this is similar to what we saw at Alabama with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, 100%.
That's why Tua took over for him.
Wide open players like Devontae Smith, and you're overshooting them.
Yeah.
You know, a clear 60, 70-yard touchdown, and you just ill-advised throw. Not a lot of pressure on you, and you're just not able to get the ball into your best player's hands. And like you mentioned, that's why they went in Alabama with a more accurate passer, because Jalen Hurts struggles with that accuracy.
Yeah, and that's where they're hurting. They're really relying on him. I mentioned Saquon earlier,
Yep.
coming off last year where he had 375 touches, whatever, some crazy number.
Yep.
He's starting to creep up into that age, so he's not looked as explosive as he did last year.
Yeah.
Which is to be expected. That's kind of how this goes.
They just don't spell him a lot.
Yeah,
You know
who's behind him?
Well, they traded for Tank Bigsby, so they have at least bodies behind them. They signed A.J. Dillon in the offseason, and these aren't players that are going to move the needle like Saquon does. But whenever you have that many carries,
You got to give him a blow.
you got to give them help, specifically early in the season.
Yep.
And they don't, and they of course very early in the season with Will Shipley, they were giving him more opportunities. But ever since Shipley went down, it's like it's the Saquon show, and if you continue to feed that rock to a player that is rocking with that many carries, that's trouble at bay.
Yeah, they've got some pieces they've got to figure out what the heck to do with.
Yeah.
The NFC North, the Green Bay Packers have slid back in on the heels of their tie with your beloved Cowboys. They're sitting atop the NFC North at 3-1-1. The Lions are at 4-2, so they are right behind them. And I think that the Lions long term. I stand by my pick as them. I think I still got them coming out of the NFC to the Super Bowl. All four teams in this division are above 500.
Yeah.
Vikings and the Bears. Vikings somehow are 3-2. The Bears are somehow 3-2.
Yeah.
So yeah, that whole division is above 500. Unlike
Pretty competitive.
unlike some of the other divisions we're looking at.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see that Green Bay Detroit, who ends up being the head of it. But I think you're definitely seeing two playoff teams coming from this division.
Absolutely. Down south, the only other 5-1 team to go along with the Indianapolis Colts.
Shocking.
Baker Mayfield and the surprising question mark Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, definitely. And a team that is getting absolutely bombarded with injuries to be sitting at 5-1. Yeah, that's a credit to Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
And we're talking like a few years back, he was looking like he was getting ready to go look at other jobs besides football, and now you're sitting in one of the best teams in the league through 6 weeks. It's been incredible to see the comeback story that is Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, it makes the Browns look all the more silly. He was jettisoned out of Cleveland.
Jettisoned out of Carolina,
went to
too.
Carolina, booted out of there.
Yep.
Had a brief stop in L.A. with the Rams. Remember that Monday Night Football game?
That revitalized his career.
That seemed to reboot him.
Yep.
And then moving over to Tampa, he seems to have found a home. Just started watching the show Chad Powers. Really entertaining. But then, so I told your mom, I said, yeah, well, let's go back. You got to see the original Chad Powers with Eli Manning. And there's even going further back with the transfer with Jared Goff. But there's a Baker Mayfield one from, I think, just within the past year, where he goes out with a bunch of fans and they're doing a thing. He has found a home in Tampa.
Oh, yeah.
They absolutely have embraced him. He has found a place there. He's been able, he's remained himself, still got his great sense of humor. but he's serious about playing football.
Well, and historically speaking, Tampa Bay has always been that place for old veteran quarterbacks to come revitalize their career. Of course, in the modern time, of course, you got Tom Brady.
Sure.
But then you have, back in the gap, Jeff Garcia.
Yep.
Revitalized his career
Didn't
there.
Vinny go down there?
Vinny Testaverde, before that. Brad Johnson revitalized his career there. Tampa Bay has always been that destination for older quarterbacks to come find glory. And Baker is just that new iteration of the Tampa Bay Magic down there.
The thing, and you touched on it, the injuries, particularly at wide receiver, that they have had, and the fact that they continue to move forward, they continue to win. Baker continues to find ways for him to win.
Yeah.
I'm still stand by. I don't know what the odds are. We're not gambling folk. I don't know what the odds are for Baker to win MVP, but he's got my vote at this point.
Yeah, no question. No question.
Moving out west, NFC West, the 49ers, Seahawks, and Rams all tied at 4-2. I don't know how the 49ers have done it. Of course, the Seahawks were my pick to win this division at the start of the season. Rams, I think, are fully dependent on Matthew Stafford staying healthy.
Yep.
But wow, did not expect to see three teams out west in the NFC all tied at 4-2, battling for that lead in that division lead.
And you want to talk about injuries? I mean, San Fran, goodness gracious.
Yeah, how are they doing it?
Yeah, no idea. They're sitting 3-0 in the division. Of course, their best defensive player, maybe best player on the team, is now lost potentially for the season, and Fred Warner. They're still sitting 4-2, 3-0 in the division, and winning games that you think that they should lose. A crazy stat with San Fran that you don't normally see. Their point against is at 128 points. Their points for, which is of course is how many points they're scoring. Points against is how many points they're giving up to other teams. They're at 125, so they actually have a differential of -3. They're actually giving up more points to other teams than they're actually scoring, yet they're sitting at 4-2.
And when you look across the NFL, the Steelers are +12, and I'm looking at the teams that are in first place. Patriots and Bills are +30. The Steelers are +12. The Colts +78.
Yeah, crazy
for the year. Jags +19. The only teams that you see with negative point differentials, well, the Eagles
fly, -1.
The Eagles are -1.
Yep.
Commanders +32, so I kind of expect to see them sneak up.
Yeah.
But yeah, to see a team tied for first, every other team in that division, including the Cardinals, have a plus point differential. Cardinals are at +3. That's where the 3 points, I guess, 49ers are missing.
Yep.
That is bananas.
That's crazy.
But it I look at the Seahawks, they're at +49. Their defense is sort of what I was picking, or sort of what I was looking at when I picked them to win the NFC West this year. So I think the numbers are starting to substantiate that. You've got Mac Jones and Brock Purdy,
yep,
both back in practice a little bit.
Same with George Kittle.
And George Kittle, they've all made their way back onto the practice field, so they're on.
And Ayuk should be coming back if he wasn't pissed off at the team. He might be demanding his way out of there, which is kind of surprising. Like, why'd you re-sign there if you were that upset with the team? There are reinforcements coming for San Fran, but of course. The loss of Fred Warner, the other injuries that have piled up for San Fran, it's going to be hard to continue that success, specifically without point differential.
Yep.
You think at some point the chickens are going to come home to roost?
Yeah, somehow they've been able to stick around at 4-2. We'll see what happens when they start getting their players back.
Yeah.
All right, so you ready to move to picks?
You
got more to talk about?
No. I really just want to touch base with my top five.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Power 5. Last week, of course, there's going to be a lot of shakeup with this top five. Last week, of course, I had the Eagles still sitting atop, Bills number 2, Rams 3, Lions 4, Bucks 5. So this week, there's been significant shakeups. So Eagles are going from my number 1 team to my number 5 team. They have fallen all the way down. There is an argument to be made that they should not even be in the top 5. Still got to give them that grace. They still got a good roster.
Yeah, they're the defending champs. They're atop a competitive division. So that makes sense. That's fair.
Number 4s, they did not crack my top 5, but they deserve to be in my top 5, specifically with what I've seen from their defense. I think this is the best defense in the game. That would be the Denver Broncos coming at number 4. Again, that's all predicated on the defense. I think just long term, they're getting Drake Greenlaw back this week. That defense is a scary defense. And if that offense can be anything but serviceable, I think the Broncos could be a contender. Number 3 is a team that was sitting at number 2. They've fallen. So the Bills now are my number 3. That loss against Atlanta, they definitely did not look like the Bills. I still feel like with Josh Allen at quarterback, they got all the pieces in the world on that team. But they just, from those being 2 back-to-back losses, they have fallen.
And the Falcons lost. The Patriots lost. It's a division game. Patriots are climbing.
Right.
They've got, that was a bit of a surprise, but not overwhelmingly so. That Falcons game, the Falcons, I just have no idea what to expect. They're an entirely different team when they're playing in Atlanta. But they're kind of all over the place, sort of like the Broncos. Really not sure what you're getting from week to week.
And if you can't stop the run, you're not going to be able to be competitive whenever it comes to the playoffs.
100%.
And golly, Bijan was just feasting. And not only Bijan, but then you had Tyler Algier come in and still put up some touchdowns and good carries as well too. So they've fallen to number 3, and then not very surprising, these are 2 of the top teams with the record wise, but the Colts come in at number 2 for me.
Wow. Moving on up.
Not even in my top 5 last week, but now they're finally getting their flowers from me. Defensive wise, they can stop any team, and as hard that I've been on Daniel Jones, he looks good in this offense. Shane Steichen has those guys prepared, ready to go. I still feel like they've played very easy competition so far, but they definitely deserve to be in the top 5. And with the record-wise, they come in at number 2. But then, of course, sitting at the top of my top 5, that's Baker and the boys. The Bucks come in at my number 1 seed. Needless to say, no matter the injuries, no matter the competition, they've shown up. The big games, they're not. They don't shy away from that, so the Bucks deserve that number 1 spot this week.
Yeah, and I tell you, Russ may cook, but Baker bakes.
Baker does bake.
He's bringing it.
Yeah.
And they smoke and mirrors. Not sure how they're doing it, just on sheer force of will. So.
And if they get fully healthy, that offense looks pretty nice. And again, Rashard White, one of the best running back 2s in the game. Bucky Irvin being down, They haven't missed a beat running the ball. And then, of course, if they can get Mike Evans healthy, Chris Godwin back to full strength, and Emeka Egbuka back to full strength, that offense is going to be very, very hard to beat.
Yeah, and the defense has just kept them in games, which is really what you need
100%
in the NFL these days. Great top 5. I can't argue with anybody you got there. The only thing I've got from the old dogs curmudgeon corner is, are you as over the European games as I am?
Yeah, it's just bad football.
It's horrible football. And even when the Vikings stayed in the UK from one week to the next, it wasn't like they adjusted. It was like they just landed right before kickoff. It's just horrible football. I think that I saw somebody say something to the effect of, if you thought that the Tea Party pissed off, caused tension between the United States and Great Britain, the quality of football we're sending over there is potentially likely to start another international conflict. So
yeah, no question.
Just bad football. Also not a fan of the double Monday night games unless they're unless they're staggered a little bit more. But my real complaint this week is the European games. I'm just ready for them to be done.
No, I'm with you on the European games. I don't know. I kind of go back and forth with a double Monday Night Football. I do like it a lot better, of course, sitting in the Central Time Zone. The games, of course, being just about 30 minutes off and not starting after the other game.
Yeah.
But more just because whenever there's downtime, whether that be commercials or if that be halftime, you still got some sort of football occurring. So I'm not opposed to the double Monday night games. So
yeah, that's fair. All right, as we roll into our picks, we are, as I mentioned, we're both hovering just under 600 for the year. My target was 650. Charlie's at 53 and 39. I am also at 53 and 36 because of my 3 IDC games. So what do you say? You ready to dive into the picks for week 7?
Yeah. I need some good luck on these ones because goodness gracious, that last week was rough.
Yeah, we've got 2 buys this week. Baltimore, much needed buy break this week, and Buffalo. Also, they could use the breaks, sort of reshape, figure out what happened to their defense. So those are 2 teams not playing. We start off, if you're listening to this on Thursday, we start off this evening. Pittsburgh, I've got all the favorites listed here. Pittsburgh opening up at Cincinnati, 5.5-point favorite. Who you got?
Yeah. I feel like this game, Cincinnati looked better with, of course, Flacco coming into the mold. But I still feel like Mike Tomlin knows how to win games and knows how to beat divisional opponents. So I think it's going to be a little bit more competitive than Cincinnati looked with Jake Browning. But I still have Pittsburgh winning 24-20. I think Pittsburgh is just a better football team. They're better on the defensive line than Cincinnati's offensive line, and I think that'll give them fits.
Yep, I've got Pittsburgh also 27-16. I think Joe Flacco is giving some signs of life to that Pittsburgh offense. I think having a full week to prepare, well, most of a full week. He's playing on a Thursday night, so he still hasn't had a full week of practice yet with this team rolling into any of the games. But he's going to be bring a little bit more life to that offense than they've had previously. But I don't see them coming anywhere near. Pittsburgh is going to coast this one 27-16.
Yep.
The Los Angeles Rams traveling to Jacksonville, actually in London, on Sunday morning. The early game, Rams at Jacksonville. Rams favored by 3 at what many believed would be the Jaguars' home stadium. Never happened. Shad Khan is adamant he's not going to move the Jaguars. So Rams at Jags.
Yeah, I still feel like that's a home game for Jacksonville. Of course, with Shad Khan, there's just a good amount of Jacksonville fans in the UK. So I think that actually benefits Jacksonville. But I would like to mention before I make my picks that this podcast, of course, is sponsored by Patchouli Joe's Books and Indulgences. Of course, we got all your bookstore needs. We got new titles, any genre that you're looking for, fresh coffee brewed daily, quality atmosphere, just good vibes always. So if you're in Denton, Texas, specifically throughout the month of October for Halloween Denton, which is now the Halloween capital of Texas, stop by Patchouli Joe's. We got a whole bunch of horror activities, author visits, spooky read-alouds. So yeah, come on by 221 West Hickory Street in Denton, Texas.
That was a very low-tech panning of the store, and you may even be able to hear some of the youngins that are wandering around. I knocked microphones over, and there's so many wires strung out here that I made quite the mess. But thanks for bringing that up, Charlie.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, my pick for this Rams Jacksonville game, I like exactly what I've seen from Trevor Lawrence and company in Jacksonville. I think that defense is one of the top units in the game. However, I feel like the Rams just have a better overall team. So I have it being a close game. I think it's going to probably end up being about 20-17, and I'll have the Rams winning.
Yeah, I've got the Jags in a little bit of an upset. I'm still not convinced that the Rams have what it takes to go all the way. Certainly not convinced that the Jaguars do. But this will tell me a lot as the Rams go up against a kind of a nasty little Jaguars defense. So we will see what they deliver. This will be a very telling game for me. But I've got the Jags winning this one 17-10 over across the pond.
Yeah. Well, with that Jags defense, it wouldn't be surprising if they shut down Matthew Stafford and company, specifically if Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua are not fully healthy. It could be interesting to see how well that Jags defense does.
Yeah, and the one thing that they've done surprisingly well at is put pressure on the quarterback. And when you've got a less than fully when you've got a more seasoned quarterback like Matthew Stafford, he's going to be a little more susceptible to a nasty pass rush.
Yep.
So that's why I've got the Jags sort of shutting down that Rams offense a little bit.
Yep. I think out of all the London games, though, I think this is one that's worth waking up that early and getting a morning coffee to watch. So.
Yep. This one could be interesting a little bit. Like I said, that Jaguars team is fun to watch.
Definitely.
All right, next up, we've got the New Orleans Saints at the surprising 3-2 Chicago Bears. The Bears are favored by 5.5 points at home over the Saints. Who you got?
Well, shoot, they were one lucky fumble away from not winning that game against Washington. I feel like this is going to be not great football to watch, to be honest with you. I don't necessarily like what Chicago has shown on defense. Mm-hmm. I also don't like what New Orleans has shown on defense. I think there is a little bit of an advantage for Chicago, of course, with Dennis Allen being there. He knows all the players that New Orleans has on offense since he was the head coach of New Orleans last year. So I think that definitely benefits Chicago. But however, Chicago is known to just give away a game. I don't think that is going to necessarily be this game, just because New Orleans, I think, is just overmatched. So I have Chicago winning. I'll say it'll probably be about like 23-14. But I think it's going to be bad football, and I'm not looking forward to watching this game.
Yeah, this is one I almost IDC'd this one. But I've got the Bears taking the Saints at home, covering the spread easily, 24-17.
Definitely.
This next one surprised me. The line on this one surprised me. Cleveland is favored at home by 3 points against the Dolphins. Miami at Cleveland. Cleveland favored by 3 as of earlier today. We're recording this on Wednesday, the 15th. Cleveland favored. This may be the last time we see this year.
Yeah, and this is kind of I think I might agree with Vegas on this one. Miami looks in worse shape than Cleveland, and I can't believe I'm saying that. Cleveland, I feel like they are who we thought they were on offense.
Yep.
But that defense is something to not write off.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of scratch to it, a little spunk.
110%.
Yeah.
Their first round picks pick. Of course, Mason Graham has worked out well in that interior defensive line. Of course, you still got one of the best pass rushers in Myles Garrett. But Miami, golly, just both sides of the ball, just so many mental mistakes, just not quality football. They rely so heavily on Devon Achane, and whenever you stop the run in Miami, bad things just tend to happen. No accountability from Tua. blaming the coaching staff predominantly for the ills that have occurred in Miami. I just feel like the wheels are about to fall off on that Miami team. So I feel like Cleveland's going to end up winning the ball game. I think you see Dylan Gabriel getting his first win. I have it being 27-24. And maybe that's a little bit too much points for Miami against this Cleveland defense. But I do have Cleveland winning the ball game.
When I look at this game, I think that there are, on paper, better players in Miami than there are in Cleveland. There comes a point in the season where the better players win games. I think both of these teams are struggling with their coaching staff, with their preparation. I think that there's confusion in the locker room on exactly who they are. But at this point, I believe that we're going to see the better players in Miami take this one on the road against Cleveland and just shut Cleveland down. I've got the Dolphins winning this one 24-10.
Yeah. This arguably is the worst game of the week, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is horrible.
Yep.
Okay, who do we got next? Sorry, I'm looking ahead.
Yeah, so this one's going to be the Las Vegas Raiders going up against the Kansas City Chiefs.
At Kansas City.
Yeah, divisional rivalry, of course, going into Arrowhead. It looks like Kansas City is an 11.5-point favorite.
Yeah, unfortunately, as much as I would love to see my beloved Raiders make it 2 in a row, even with an 11.5-point line, I'm not sure that I would. I don't think I can talk myself into the Raiders winning. However, I think they're going to make it close. I think that we're going to see some adjustments with Geno Smith, because frankly, if we don't see those adjustments now, when the hell are we going to see them? But we've got to somehow get off this interception train and falling apart in the red zone. So I've got this a little bit closer. Again, were I a betting man, and I am not, I would seriously consider taking those 11.5 points. That's a lot of points for a division game. But I've got the Chiefs winning this one 30-27.
Yeah. I would love to see the Las Vegas Raiders upset Kansas City. However, I just feel like Chip Kelly's given me no sort of hope in this Las Vegas offense. And, of course, whenever you go up against an offense like Andy Reid has and Patrick Mahomes, you got to come with your A game. And I like that.
And they're going to be playing from behind. That's the frightening thing.
Yeah, and I like that finally cooler heads prevailed and Ashton Genty can go back to his stance.
Michael Myers.
And Chip Kelly isn't actively mismanaging a star player.
A generational talent, yeah.
But, of course, the Vegas offense works well whenever they can run the ball and have a strong run game. And, of course, whenever you're behind in a game, you're just not able to lean on that. So I got Kansas City winning 27-10. Of course, Rashee Rice is back. So that offense is just getting reinforcements. It's just going to be hard to stop.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I think we're going to see some points scored in surprising places. I think Thornton is going to get a touchdown this week, but I don't think there will be enough Raiders to take on the ascending Chiefs.
Yep.
Next up into Minnesota, the Philadelphia Eagles, defending Super Bowl champions, are rolling in on the road. Philly is only a 1.5-point favorite. Minnesota has been disappointing. They've had some injuries. They had the 2 games over in Europe. They have been a little perplexing. A lot of people expected them to be a little bit more competitive in that NFC North. I don't see it. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that this is going to be a barn burner. I think finally, Carson Wentz gets his revenge.
All right.
I got Minnesota winning this ball game. I think, of course, bad things are happening for Philadelphia. I feel like Nick Sirianni is not driving this ship in the right direction. I feel like Minnesota is not doing much better. But I think whenever it comes to it, Minnesota finds a way to win this ball game. It helps that they're at home. Philadelphia has to travel on the road. They get the full skull experience. Minnesota will win this ball game 31-27.
Yeah, I've got the Eagles taking this on the road. I just haven't seen enough out of the Vikings. Haven't seen enough. Obviously, J.J. McCarthy still on the sidelines. I don't think there is enough Carson Wentz to pull this off. But I think it's going to be close. I think you're going to see a competitive game. Surprisingly, I've got the Eagles winning this 24-21.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, the Turd Bowl.
Yep.
Perhaps the worst game not only of the week, but the worst game of the year, perhaps. We have the Carolina Panthers going on the road to New Jersey to take on the winless Jets. Carolina's a 1.5 favorite. What do you see? Are the Jets going to get their first win this year? This season.
So this is actually a very interesting matchup for me. The Jets are built to run the ball. Whenever they have to pass the ball, it normally only goes to one specific target. That target is out. So it leads me to believe that New York is going to lean heavily on the run. With that being said, Carolina is designed specifically to stop the run. You saw it against Dallas. Javonte Williams had an abysmal day. It was very hard to get any sort of semblance of a run game going, specifically with their interior defensive line. I think it's one of the best defensive tackle rooms in the league Carolina has. So I feel like it leads to a wood chipper kind of disaster for that New York offense. With that being said, I think Carolina finds a way to win. I got them winning 23-20, and we're looking at the Jets going 0-7 to start the year. And I know there's going to be a lot of pissed off Jets fans.
Sorry, Jeff. Sorry about that. The good news, Jeff, and the other Jets fans, I think that the Jets are going to somehow figure out a way to sneak away with this one at home. It's going to be ugly. I've got the Panthers getting 3 field goals and the Jets taking it. 1 touchdown scored in this game. I've got the Jets winning this one 13-9.
Shucks.
Yeah, it's going to be ugly. I just don't have a whole lot of confidence in Carolina, particularly on the road.
Ugh. And if it's a 13-9 game, you won't catch me watching this game at all. I'm going to turn this off in the first quarter.
This won't make the 4 box. This is not a good one.
Yeah.
Now, flipping that, we have down in Tennessee, home of, I don't even know who the hell the interim coach is or who the head coach is.
I think it's Mike McCoy, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, well, we know it's not Brian Callahan.
Yeah, definitely not.
Or his dad.
Or Bill.
Yeah, or his dad, Bill. The Raiders been through the Bill Callahan. Of course, we've been through,
yes.
To be fair, we've been through pretty much every
Same with the Cowboys,
ever
too.
coached in the NFL.
Yep.
New England rolling down to Nashville to take on the Titans. Most recently fallen to defeat at the hands of my beloved Las Vegas Raiders. New England kind of looking a little saucy, a little spicy.
Yeah, definitely.
They are favored by 7 rolling down into Nashville. What do you expect to see?
Yeah, I expect to see Mike Vrabel beat his old team
Badly.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know if it's going to be badly. I feel like Tennessee might have a little bit of the monkey off their back with their head coach being fired. It definitely looked like the locker room he was losing, so maybe this was a move that potentially could spark that locker room and kind of rally around each other over a head coach. But, of course, New England is hitting in all cylinders. Drake May looks the part. I think their defense is really what has surprised me.
Who, New England?
New England.
Yeah, with Vrabel, that's kind of to be expected.
Yeah, so of course, they're going to be well prepared. I feel like this is going to be a good game for New England, so I'll have them winning about 27, I'll say, to 20.
Yeah, I've got the Patriots coming down making mincemeat out of Cam Ward. They're going to make his life miserable. I've got the Patriots taking this 34-16. Vrabel and the Patriots in a statement game. They are going to remind Amy Adams Strunk of why, make her question her decision to get rid of Vrabel. Okay, now we're running into an interesting
Oh,
couple of games
your
for
your
me.
least favorite team versus my least favorite team.
Yeah, and I think I've got a little surprise. The Giants rolling into Denver at Mile High. Denver favored by 7 at home. What are you expecting to see?
I
I know you're big on the Broncos.
Yeah, yeah. I again, as a person that can't stand New York, the Giants, they have found something in Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterboo. I like what they're building there. However, you're going up against the hardest defense in the game. Of course, Nick Bonito, one of the best linebacker pass rushers in the game. Of course, getting Drake Greenlaw back is nice. You got Patrick Surtain, of course, one of the best corners in the game. I think it's going to give this young New York offense fits. I have Denver, of course, single-handedly winning the game. I got it being 24-10. I just think New York is just going to have a horrific time moving the ball on this Denver defense. And, of course, Denver's offense, all they got to do is just not ruin it for the defense. So, of course, Denver's going to win the game 24-10.
I am all in on Jackson Dart at this point. I am a big believer in what the Giants are doing on defense. Doesn't always show, but I think that they've got the pieces there to make a difference. I've got the Giants going on the road into Denver in a late game, taking down the Broncos, and this could just be my bias because I hate the Broncos.
Oh, totally fair. I hate the Giants, so I picked Denver.
But I legit think that Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterboo are going to go in and take down the Broncos 27-24 in Denver.
Shocking.
Yeah.
If Denver beats Philadelphia and loses to New York, heads are going to roll in the NFC East.
Yeah, that's the NFC East is shaping up to be an interesting.
It's a turd division.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting down the line.
Yeah.
All right, next up, the next 3 o'clock game, we've got Indianapolis, the 5-1 Colts, going into Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. Chargers are favored by 1.5 at home. Is this when the magic? Is this when the Indiana Jones magic comes back down to earth?
Well, I saw a report that Khalil Mack might be back. I don't think that changes anything.
Nope.
Yeah, I feel like Indianapolis is one of the best defensive units in the game. Offensively, they're leaning heavily on Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, I feel like LA's in for a hard matchup. I got Indy winning 31-20. I like what I've seen specifically from Justin Herbert. He started to feed Lad McConkey a little bit more and spreading the ball around. But I feel like the injuries that have been piling up for the Chargers, specifically on the offensive line and in the running back room, is going to hurt them. So I got Indy winning 31-20.
I've got Indy going on the road and taking this as well. It's going to be a little bit lower scoring game in my mind. I've got Indy taking this 21-17. I think it will come down. I think Justin Herbert is going to make a mistake down the stretch that's going to put Indy over the top. Like I said, I've got Colts winning 21-17.
For sure.
Next, we've got the Packers going into Arizona in a game that, again, almost IDC, but I went ahead and picked it. Green Bay is favored by almost a touchdown, 6.5 points. They are in Arizona. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm thinking that Green Bay, of course, is one of the best teams in the game. I think Arizona, of course, not having Kyler Murray out there is going to be hard to try to beat. So I got Green Bay, of course, going into Arizona and winning the game. I'll say it's probably going to be about 24-10.
Yeah, I've got the Packers starting to come back to life a little bit. They're going to score a few more points, I think. It's going to be Packers 31-17. I don't think there's a whole lot of there in Arizona, especially when you take away Kyler. I don't know that they go up at all. The game of the week, in my mind, Washington at Dallas. Coming into Arlington, the Commanders are favored by 1.5 points only. against the your beloved Cowboys. How you feeling? How you feeling about this matchup?
I feel like Dallas can't stop anybody offensively. I feel like Jaden Daniels, of course, is having to do a little bit more than he had to last year. Of course, with Terry McLaurin being out, of course, leaning on a rookie running back in Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt.
Bill.
But of course, like I said, if you want to become a Hall of Fame quarterback, just go up against this Matt Eberflus defense. I feel like it's just going to give them fits all day long. So I got Washington winning 33, and I'll say Dallas puts up 23. So just only a 10-point game. But Washington, there's just no way this Dallas defense is going to be able to stop them.
Yeah, see, I don't think that the Dallas defense is going to stop them either. I think Washington's going to score 31 points, but I think Dallas is going to score 34.
Wow.
I've actually got Dallas winning this one at home. They have that defense is fighting to show that they can play NFL caliber teams. We're going to find out this weekend against Jaden and Bill and that Washington offense. But I've got the Cowboys winning this at home, 34-31.
For sure.
This next one is the warm-up, one of the best games, not the best game, but the Sunday night game. We've got the Falcons going cross-country to San Francisco. The 49ers are favored by 2.5 points. What do you think we're going to see out of these two teams? We haven't seen the same thing out of Atlanta 2 weeks in a row, so no. I don't know what the hell to expect.
Right. Of course, if you get a good rushing attack in Atlanta, that bodes well for Atlanta. But, of course, if they're on the road, I do not think you're going to see Atlanta perform the way that they perform in the Mercedes-Benz Dome.
Yeah,
so
agreed.
I feel like San Fran, this benefits them. Of course, if you get back Brock Purdy and if you get back George Kittle, it's going to relieve the pressure that is set on San Francisco. But, of course, offensively, they've got to be able to stop Bijan Robinson. So I got San Francisco winning 21, and I'll say Atlanta scoring 17.
I just don't believe in the 49ers. This one is going to be another bit of a surprise. I've got the Falcons going cross-country, winning 24-23 against the 49ers. Finally, this one is my game of the week. This is the game, the early Monday night game, 6 p.m. our time. Tampa Bay going into Detroit. Detroit is favored 5.5 points. What are you thinking of this one? What do you think of this game, first of all? Is this your game of the week?
Yeah, I would probably say this is my game of the week. Of course, I think the one that I'm most looking forward to seeing, and not only because I'm a Dallas fan, but I think that Washington-Dallas matchup I think is going to be one of the most exciting games. But, of course, I think Tampa Bay versus Detroit on paper. Of course, you got a 5-1 team going against a 4-2 team. So, yeah, I would probably say this is the game of the week. But I feel like Tampa Bay, with the amount of injuries they have, it's going to be hard to beat this Detroit team who is a little bit more healthy than Tampa Bay. I just feel like Detroit's offense has all the pieces. They can run the ball, throw the ball. Defensively, they're not super great, but I feel like with the amount of injuries Tampa Bay has on the offensive side of the ball, it's just going to be hard to keep up. So I got Detroit winning 31, and I'll have Tampa Bay only putting up 24.
Yeah, this is an old school NFC North division, as Chris Berman used to say. Black and blue division back when Tampa was in the NFC North for some bizarre reason. They were. I think that this is when the injuries to Tampa finally catch up to him. I think you've got a Detroit team that is still rebounding a little bit from their opening game loss. I think that they've got some chips on their shoulder. They've got some things to prove. Dan Campbell is going to make sure that this team is ready. That's the one thing I think that we've seen. So in spite of my love for Baker Mayfield, I think that they're going to roll into Detroit. It's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be less than the 5.5 points that Vegas is giving to the Tampa Bay. I think it's going to be a close game, 28-24. But I think this is going to be a preview of what we're going to see as we move into the playoffs later in the year.
Yeah, definitely.
And finally, the late Monday night game. We have the Houston Texans traveling to Seattle. Seattle's favored by 3.5 points at home for the last game of the week. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm thinking that Seattle looks nice offensively and defensively if they can get back to kind of earlier in the year. If they can get back to that form, I think that they are one of the tough teams to beat. Houston, of course, finally kind of has made steps, and steps meaning they had a bye week last week, so they didn't lose.
So they didn't go backwards.
Right. So, yeah, I got Seattle winning this game pretty handily. I think Houston is going to put up about 17 points, but Seattle clearly wins 27-17.
I've got them just about the same for all the same reasons. I've got Seattle 31-17 at home to stake their claim atop the NFC West, with the other two teams losing in my imaginary scenario that I put together here.
Yeah, I mean, that's reasonable. Of course, with San Fran having to go up against Atlanta, who definitely looked the part last week, and, of course, with the Rams going up against...
Going to Jacksonville.
Yeah. Going to the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars' home country.
Right.
We could be talking next week that Seattle's sitting atop of that division.
Yeah, that's like I said, that's how I picked them, so somehow they got to get there.
Heck yeah.
All right, man, that's it. This is we're getting a little better. Hopefully this turns out. Hopefully we're getting a little bit better with the video. We will continue to move forward with that. Once again, reminder, we are going to be joined by one of my favorite sports writers of all time, and I cannot wait to read his new Tupac book, Only God Can Judge Me. Jeff Pearlman is going to be joining us sometime over the next couple of weeks. We will keep you posted. Follow us on social media. Facebook, Instagram. You can email us at olddogyoungbull@gmail.com. But we will keep you posted and let you know when Jeff Pearlman is going to be joining us. We're very excited. He's just a good dude. Follow him on TikTok and all the other places. He's got a new show out on YouTube. Oh crud! I should have had that in front of me. Anyway, you won't want to miss that. Jeff is a mensch. The stories he's got to tell about this only God Can Judge Me, the many lives of Tupac Shakur. Not only that, but yeah, he's just a mensch. He's just a good dude. So anyway, we're looking forward to welcoming him. Charlie, another great week. Let's what do you say we keep moving forward?
Let's do it. Hopefully can bat over 500 this week. So
Here we go. Let's get up to that 650, man.
heck yeah.
All right. Well, hey, if we get to 650 on our picks, do you think our teams are going to get to 650 in their records?
No, definitely not.
Yeah, either way, not going to back down. Go silver and black.
Go silver and blue.
Peace. This is the Patchouli Podcast Network.